it will probably be a 50%. But yeah, ladies and gents, we are back live. I believe we are back live according to my PS. But yeah, if you don't know what happened, the game crashed. And now we are going to see if EA servers do work. If they don't, then it could be an abandoned event as a whole. I'm aware a few weeks ago the whole servers crashed in another league race that I was commentating. So it may just be a thing with me and commentating things. Because it ain't the first time it's full on crashed on me. Yeah, I'm currently creating a session lobby. Okay, let's start inviting people. That's always fun, ain't it? Okay, so Marty, Shankly, who's next? George is online. Emmanuel, if you need to go at 8, there's no point you partaking main race because it's a 45-minute event. Yeah, no point joining in first place, really. Huh? If you want, I mean, we've already got quite a few quick drivers. Okay, Emmanuel's... Huh? What, you wanna try and... To be fair though, KZ Matty's second in the championship and it was a second off everyone, so... I think... there's definitely... margin. Yeah. As I'm just trying to get... Yeah, I'm now trying to get everyone in the lobby again. Turbo, we need to invite Vince. And then I'm going to... Do I need to... Send you an invite? Yeah. Now let's start trying to put the grid together, shall we? It was Vince on pole, then Fiora, KZ, Matty, Shankly. DRL Naismith, Zebra, your mum up next. I mean, do you lot want to see me drive? Because I'm just sitting as a driver. No, in F2 I'm leading the championship, but I can't even match fucking Fiora. Oh, your mum's in. Should I actually drive for shits and giggles? I mean, it's a liable shout. But nah, we need to get suspension into Williams. Yeah. Emmanuel's telling you be a good boy. Personally, I wouldn't have it. Yeah, you know what? We can do an Australian GP. Thank you for pointing that out. Thank you for pointing that out. But no, unfortunately, it's Canada. But yeah, I've been told we need more drivers according to Fiora, so you're going to be lucky enough to have me doing both. I mean, it's going to go dynamic because I don't know the actual full race. I'm horrendous in general. Who's disconnected? No, because there's 12. It's Turbo. Yep, driving and comms. Let's just say, you'll see. Yeah. Oh, what's it? We're gonna try and get Turbo, and I'm gonna literally try and delay it just to get that extra driver. Yep, he's in. Okay, weekend ready. Yeah. Nah, we need racing balls. Then we have all 10 cars. You know what? I'm gonna go pink livery for you. And I don't even know. I don't even know if I have I don't even know if I have a setup for Canada. We may be cooked. To be fair, I made those server setups, so yeah, for CRL F1 setups. To be fair, I just make my own. I'm not shit with them, but I'm not great. I've got medium. But yeah, we'll have then like maybe a minute. We're going to do the oval ready up a bit later. I did say 45, but it's... Yeah, that's my point, so I'm gonna change it to 47. I know you need to go at 8:30, but due to circumstances, tough. If you can drive quick enough, then you'll get it done by 8:30. Otherwise, you may have to suck it up and deal with it. 2926 wings. Just trust it. 2926 wings. I've got a full setup. Huh? No, it's public to the whole server. Yeah, some esport drivers have praised it. Because I'm a cheapskate. I mean, you're gonna trust my... if you really want to set up, just trust me on it. You sure you're on it or not? Okay, there we go. I mean, ladies and gents, if you're watching the stream, you probably saw the setup anyways. Because I've just had to put one on. Nah, it's Mexico, mate. I love Mexico. One of my top 5 tracks. Why am I not surprised on that comment? Yes. I'm gonna be cheeky and press it now, because when the timer ends, it'll be 47 on the dot. Diddums. You have 13 seconds. I literally timed it to 46 and 30 seconds, so yeah. If people want to complain that I did it 30 seconds early, go at it. It's just to try and get a manual to finish. But it's the lights out, and away we go here for CRL Season 4 Round 6 at Canada. I didn't think I'd be racing, but overall it's been an okay start. We're ahead of suspension, Tugger to the inside, almost clipping Emmanuel, as it looks like Vince has got away perfectly fine. Fiora's dropped down the field a bit. He's from 2nd to 4th. As we just have to settle in. Pasty Smasher sending an ambitious move on Tugger. I'm going to try and pick up the scraps as we go round the outside through turn 5. We're ahead of the Sauber car, as there's your mum lobbing it to the inside against Zebra. Emmanuel kissing the rear end of the Alpine, really trying to show off some affection in these early doors. But as I said at the start, Vince is pulling away. This is crucial for his championship. He's about 47 points behind entering today's event. He is definitely starting to chip away at that, as there goes Emmanuel to the inside against Zebra. Mercedes versus Alpine once more, which is a very common pattern throughout this race and this championship in general. As for the sake of it, Mercedes and Alpine 6 points apart entering today. 1 Alpine, 2 Mercedes, so it does look like that is going to stay the way it is come the end of today, unless a mass bombing occurs. But we never know. DRS is now enabled, but also you have to bear in mind Racing Bull's only 4 points ahead, as apparently your mum does not know how to drive. That is not coming from me, that's coming from Zebra, so go and tell your mums. Because they may not be happy about Zebra's foul language saying woman can't drive. But anyways, Vince is continuing on in this race as the Alpines and Mercedes continuing to throw each other some tyres at one another, whilst I'm just trying not to find a wall here, because I've got a very low finishing rate at Canada in general. So do expect fully pledged comms come about lap 15, because that's usually when I find the Wall of Champions. But despite that fact, we are still in DRS range of Tugger and Emmanuel into two Mercedes. Emmanuel even trying to go to the inside against Zebra there, as Tugger does end up hitting the wall of champions. The Mercedes really getting quite nip and tuck with that wall, as there's Emmanuel sending an ambitious lunge on the Alpine, nearly ending up spinning himself, and possibly even that Alpine ahead, as your mum on the track map fighting against Mr. Naismith in the Papaya. Can they hold on? The Aston Martin has got ahead, as you can just see the final remarks, as Zebra claims from a better point of view than us that he did force his way through, which could be rather interesting, because I can guarantee you someone's going to get reported post-race, and I don't think that's going to be me. I've kind of sat a lonely 10th so far. At least it's 4 points or whatever, which is quite good for Racing Bulls, regarding they've had such a shit season. Do ignore my language, I'm just somebody who cusses at anything I have a chance to. But for Fiora, he's about 4 seconds off of Vince in these early doors, which is quite pivotal for this championship, as there's Pasty Smasher, goes to the outside. Suspension already has a penalty. I'm going to lob it against Pasty to fend my ground, and I have now got my second track limit strike, which is not ideal. But then again, I don't do this shit for a living. I'm usually behind a microphone, as you've seen throughout this season, making my debutant appearance for the Elite Div here in Season 4. I did do a few showcases last season, came about 12th in the championship after doing 2 races and getting about 24 points in them. But irrespective of that fact, currently leading the F2 championship, as Turbo and Tugger both do get 3 seconds of track limits. The Ferrari trying to fight with the Sauber right behind me, but as a result of me having that little rough and tumble with the Kick Sauber, we have dropped out of DRS of Tugger. So it's now just trying to babysit our car and take it as deep into this race as possible. Could we maybe even try and look at a one stop, get the tyres to about lap 15 and do 20 laps on the hards? It's not impossible. Zebra's telling me it's not going to work. I've seen Koname and Fiora do it in crazy scenarios before, so I'm going to have to try and embrace my inner version of them, as Pasty Smasher did go to the inside. I had contact on the exit, and therefore goes from 10th to 12th in literally 2 corners. So now it's just trying to settle in to a new rhythm behind the Ferrari and Saubers. There's yellow flags. It's Zebra who has found himself off the road and rejoining. I've now joined the party of 3 seconds, everyone from 10th to last, holding at least 1 track limit penalty, as Turbo almost going into the back end of Pasty Smasher. I then had to give him a few side taps just to try and keep myself in it. Turbo having a poor exit. I tried getting on the throttle sooner, didn't manage to do so. The Ferrari on a set of hards, as we have now dropped out of DRS range against the Sauber, which really just shows the epitome of my poor performance at Canada, as that Ferrari trying to defend thin air before the DRS line. So we're going to work our way down to the DRS zone, as Fiora has worked their way back up into 2nd place in this race, while your mum is pursuing a possible 4th against the likes of Shankly. As Zebra has dropped ground to suspension. That's the Alpine down into P13 of this race, as I've been offered a new strategy of lap 9, just showing that the one stop is not going to work, because I can't drive, as I'm being told a strategy now which I'm not going to listen to, because just like Kimi Raikkonen says, leave me alone, I know what I'm doing. And that is trying to stick it out of the walls, talk about what's going on around, and try not to end my race. So quite a lot, as Turbo sitting in P10 right ahead of us in the Ferrari. Pasty Smasher has started smashing that battery button a bit. It's quite evident based off pulling out about 8 tenths on this lap alone to me and this Ferrari who's just dawdling around, twiddling our thumbs, one behind the other. But if one co-owner's shit, then the other one almost certainly is so as well. That's one thing I'm happy about, because I'm not able to get past him, and he's not really finding ground against the Sauber whatsoever, as your mum has got past Shankly in the lead Sauber. I was going to say secondary, but then that one's up in P5, which will be like joint best result for them this season. I'm pretty sure if you look back at Spa or whatever it was, somewhere around P5, in which Roadrunner took home that race, as I've got my 4th track limit strike, which is really saying a lot about my performance in general. I'm just hoping the guys ahead have got as many strikes as I have, then that way I may be in direct battle for 10th, while suspension really showing me up here. Usually I've got quite an advantage over the Williams, but here today it's 2 seconds between us on the racing track, as Zebra saying he's pushing him round the track, which I won't be surprised about, because suspension is driving like he's never drove before. He's sticking with me, Turbo and Pasty quite nicely in this race, as now out the final corner up towards turn 1 once again for lap 8, as Zebra giving us a news report and a half, 3rd time in the Wall of Champions, as I just can't manage to not cut a corner here. That's another track limit strike for me. I'm pretty much getting one every lap at this point, as that as I've almost gone for a little drift off into the wall. Oh, talking about drifting off into the wall, there goes Turbo. The Ferrari finds himself round and down to P13 on lap 8 of this race. Pasty Smasher going very deep. I'm just full on Tokyo drifting to keep it all in play, as Zebra is asking the Canadian version of Santa Claus for a new rear wing this Christmas, which may be a bit late for that, but irrespective of those, how is it, yeah, that's just league rules, mate. You have to get good or go home. I was talking about going home, but yeah, talking about going home, I almost ended up having to go home with finding the Wall of Champions for the first time this race. 57% on my rear left. That is crazy. I don't know how the likes of Fiora and Vince are managing their tyres, but an update on Fiora, he is starting to touch up Vince a bit, which is a few crazy and bold statements here today, but from being about 4 seconds off after the first few laps, near enough right behind his championship competitor in KZ Matty, has just dropped off into no man's land here today. As the question could be, is a free stop on the cards? Because my capability of looking after tyres is shambolic. But Vince and Matty have both pitted here in this race. So, are they thinking of the free stop as well? Because I definitely am, as I dart into the pit lane for the first time. I'm just hoping for a bit of rain. As Tuggers came out, I'm just going to be sitting down in a solemn P13 now, out of the pit. A 2.2 second stop. It was apparently optimal, whereas for me, optimal would be making a 2-stop work, which does not seem like it's on the cards, as I started on mediums. As I've got my 7th track limit strike off today on lap 10. That is peak. And I've just got myself a 3-second penalty on my out lap. I know, but I've just got 3 track limit strikes on my out lap. That is goddamn wild. I'd hope for the first of 2 options. I've managed to actually come out quite close to Pasty Smasher in this race. Has the undercut worked? Yes, it has, by 1 lap, about 2 seconds off, to now 2 seconds ahead. However, the penalty still puts me 7 seconds behind the Sauber in today's race.
Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 5.7 seconds.
But yeah, I do hate Canada in general. Not because of the track limits, but it's chicane after chicane. I only put it on the calendar so then I had fun commentating as everyone was trying to avoid track limits, but that's flipped on its head, hasn't it? But irrespective of that, a whole second gained. That is actual smart. I may do that against Pasty, thanks for the advice. As I've just set a personal best of a 15.0, which I don't think is the finest of lap times. As yellow flag's being waved, I think that was Zebra going off on a little tangent. But Fiora, currently your race leader, I believe they are looking at the 1 stop. They have not pitted yet, saying that your mum has just came in for their first stop of today's race, as I do 2 personal best sectors back to back. So I'm starting to go on a roll, which is quite odd for me. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I said yes. Ignore my interaction with parents. Yes. Yes, I said yes.
No need to worry about the tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good.
As I've just had to repeat my answers again. But back to the action. As I'm just hoping Zebra doesn't end up putting me into a wall here. Actually, I wouldn't mind that, because then I can go back to doing my actual job of commentating, but it may not be the fanciest of approaches, as I almost do find the wall there. Pasty Smasher's caught up to the back of me. And the Alpine, as the Alpine very nearly going for a little spin, tucked to the inside. And there we go, up to P11, maybe not, as we go for a right old drag race to the chicane. And now I'm going to do a suspension. And I've just fumbled the bag like I'm Arsenal, trying to win a Premier League. As I literally just tried going to the inside against Zebra, force room. I'm probably going to get reported by Pasty for possibly moving under braking, because I did try and barge my way past you and Pasty into turn 1 instead of getting boxed in. But that is life for you, ladies and gents. not everything goes your way. As currently trying to catch up to Turbo, who's got 3 seconds of track limits just up ahead. Yet to pit in this race is the Scuderia.
Green flag.
As round goes the Alpine. Have they got the puncture that they've just brought up? As now the Williams. Yeah, don't worry, old DNF at this rate. But Turbo into the pits. I think that's going to be a set of mediums coming on. Yes, it indeed is. As into the pits, I also think goes Zebra, who is now overstopped behind me. But now we just continue on with our momentum, try and keep up with Pasty, and yeah, we could be in danger because Zebra, who's a stop behind, is only about 5 seconds down the road from your race leader. So yeah, I'm only about 35 seconds off getting lapped in this race, and we aren't even halfway through the running distance. So it does look like we could be getting lapped come the end of today's race. But I've stayed within DRS range of Pasty Smasher, which is ideal for us taking home P10. As suspension somehow has 13 seconds, I believe he sped into pit lane. And I've got a healthy 13-second on-track advantage over Turbo. So my 6 extra seconds of penalty should not come of any impact in this race. Yeah, until Zebra catches me, which I think is a possibility. As really out on track, the only battle going on is me versus the Sauber 4P9, so you lot are getting an on-board of it all kicking off here in Canada. As I've got another track limit strike, I'm pretty sure that's 1, then I get 12 seconds of penalties, which could be quite depressing in this event. Regarding I went penaltyless for like 3 CRLF2 events in a row, but here we are. DRS again on Pasty Smasher. Are we close enough to go for a move into the chicane? No, we aren't, as we nearly find the Wall of Champions once more. That's allowing the Sauber to pull out over second advantage now.
A few tenths per lap to the
Into
car
turn 1,
ahead.
try and break a bit late. Really try and find that time back against the kick, who did have a little bit of a rear kick of oversteer. Going through the second corner, putting the foot on the floor as much as possible, get within that DRS range once more will be pivotal for our lonely race over 9th. It is 5 points we're fighting over here today, but with the way the penalties conundrum is going, it looks quite unlikely that I do take it home, as I've got another strike, so that means I'm surely 1 away, because it didn't give me a penalty that time. Your mum into the pit again for their second stop. Pretty sure they've gone medium, then for the hards. Whereas I just have to try and survive the walls for another half of this race. Your mum heading out of the pit lane now. They're going to be pressing up against me in about a lap or two's time, because the pace differential is quite large. As out of the pits goes the Aston Martin. They're about 7 seconds down the road from us, so we do have a bit of a caveat. How long that caveat lasts for is another thing. whilst we are still just matching the Sauber ahead in a on-track pursuit over 8 for finishing. But yeah, normally I probably can't overtake the Sauber, so we're going to have to be a bit more inventive than that here today. As this is where I'll pull out like a crazy undercut, go for another set of hards, which I don't have, so maybe a set of intermediates, go to the end on them, and boom, could all work out. Or it could just lead to all 4 tyres having a puncture come the end of lap 20. But I think things have had a slight change for the better, just broke into DRS range of the Sauber 9/10 as it stands, which is the closest we've been since we've dropped out, believe it or not. Which is common sense, really. But we will get DRS for the first time in about 3 laps on the Sauber. This means everything for our race now. Just trying to stay in that DRS range. We've missed the detection point, however, as I did say it'd take us about 2 laps to be put under pressure by the Aston Martin. The 2 laps haven't even came around yet. We're still 2 corners away from it, and they are in DRS of us, so we are in some unholy danger come the end of these next 2 straights, up towards the wall of Champion Chicane once more. Keep it out of the walls, rather tight on the exit, but the Aston Martin no DRS, and they are through before the start of lap 20, going to try and push them over to the inside, which we do so. However, didn't hold the place. I'll be honest, didn't really try and fight as much, but Mr. Naismith has had a little spin in the McLaren, dropping down through the field. He's getting quite close to Tugger, who is, as things stand, P7 on track as your mum on another set of mediums, so they are surely pitting again in this race, looking at a free stop, which is something I did mention quite early on. Didn't think it was actually a serious strategy, but turns out it does have some traction to it, as your mum trying to fight against Pasty Smasher, looking to the inside against the Sauber, hold it on the exit and now get the throttle down. Are they going to go wall to wheel to that chicane? The Aston Martin will have DRS on the Sauber as we burn a bit of battery to get into that DRS zone once more. Pasty goes deep, we go attacking the curbs out the final corner up towards turn 1. Naismith in the pit lane in that McLaren onto a set of mediums, so he is also going to have to pit again in this race, which does look quite good for the likes of me and Pasty, because we both have one more stop in the bag. Suspension has retired from this session, which is a shame for the Williams. Their 2 points doesn't become a third, and as I said at the start, if you exclude his points, Williams would still be leading the championship by 33. As now trying to hold in to DRS of Pasty, and once more we don't manage to get it for the double detection point, which means we're going to just have to sit and bear it for a while longer. But how we were told by Manuel, he has to go at 8:30. Question will be, can he do 14 odd laps in 15 minutes? It would mean he may have to set a few sub 1 minute times here in Canada. Otherwise, we could be getting another position out of this race and promote us to a possible 8. As your mum gets 9 seconds of penalties here today in the Sauber, Aston Martin, that's a shame. 15 seconds for Zebra on the other hand. He is your penalty race leader, which is quite alleviating knowing I'm not that man anymore. But yeah, I've
Should be
just
feeling
dropped
the
about
effects of
7
some
attempts
tyre
to
wear
pasty
soon, so
in
stay on
that
your
first
toes.
sector. It really is starting to look clear that we are not going to have much left in the fight for 8th. Just got to try and do what we can with what we've got in a rather poor Racing Bulls car, as I believe Vince is still your race leader here today, and he's in fact lapped the back two. Fiora in hot pursuit in the middle sector. He's about a whole pit stop behind the Red Bull, which is quite a large gap, believe it or not. A rather dominant race for the Red Bull. Not looking like he's being too challenged or phased. As Vince comes into the pits, that's hopefully going to knock the gap between him and Fiora down. As I'm pretty sure the Williams is going for a 1-stop in this race compared to his 2-stop. As my rear has finally hit 60%, so it will be a question, when do we pit? Because we didn't manage to do 10 in that first stint on the mediums, so I think we'd have to go for at least another 2 laps to see us safely to the end on those mediums. If not, we could be in a bit of danger and a bit of a pickle. As Shankly has retired from the race, that will be another position for us in the Racing Bulls, and it does protect us from any threat of being overtaken by Saubers after this race of the championship. So now the fight for P8 becomes a fight for P7 in this race, and I've got another 3-second time penalty putting me on 12. Turbo behind us on 6 and is 6.6 seconds behind. So with the way things are going, we should be safe, as Emmanuel has also departed from the session. We did say he had to go half past or whatever, 15 minutes early, but pulled the plug on his race, and that makes it another DNF, because CRL does, you have to cross the line to finish. If your AI does it, then it's an AI finish rather than an actual finish, as Emmanuel has just said he needed to go. He could have tried holding it out for another 30 seconds to find the pit lane, but hey ho. As the gap between us and Pasty, 1.6 seconds. I think that Sauber is prepared to go as long as we never mind. Into the pits goes the Sauber, and we charge on for another lap, as I can't really. Sharky. Yeah, but he's out the rear, so yeah. In technicality, yeah, but probably accumulated 10 or whatever on that final lap getting to the pit lane. As I think I'm in a position with this race where I'm just going to drive till the tyres explode. Because I do need that tyre deficit over the Sauber. And so then I can also try and run away from Turbo in a fight for P7 or even P6 based off the events in the rest of this race. As I crossed the line with 73% rear left, so bear that in mind as we enter the final chicane. That will be the determining factor on if I think I can go another lap of this race.
And
as
gap to the
Turbo's
car in
even
front,
pitted from behind us, so
4.0 seconds.
it's rather clear that we are going to be in direct competition with him, as Vince is about to lap the Ferrari, meaning when I pit, I'll be about 5 seconds off of him here today.
Copy that. Remember, box this lap. Keep an eye on your distance to the speed limit line as you approach and make sure you don't speed.
As this is decision time, I've only found 5% on rear left. I'm going to go another lap of this race. And it's, if it all goes wrong, it all goes wrong now, because it's a risk I'm willing to take.
Battery charge is high. Let's use that overtake.
I am now 4th. So yeah. At least I can say that. If Turbo's caught you on pens, then I shouldn't be worried of Turbo. You're saying that and you're a lap down. As I don't want your mum to be ahead of us to a point where we can't take the pit entry. There we go, we're into the pits for our second stop here on lap 27. I do think I could have done another lap, but just have to bear in mind the gap with the Ferrari and all that. We are going to, of course, come out behind them in this race, but they've got larger penalty tallies, so we are just going to have to try and close that all back up.
Complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
As now the race is on, as I've got a warning for crossing the white line on pit exit, where I did the exact same thing in my first stint and didn't do that, so hey ho. As there is Emmanuel, the ghosted AI car. And now we can say we are 9th in this race. The hunt for Turbo is on, as he will be the next guy to come across in our charge back up through the field. And I do wonder whether or not the likes of Tug and that can make it to the end on the tyres they are on. It could be a big challenge, but we know some of these drivers have got bigger balls than most and able to put it to the test. But lap 29 of 35, 7 racing laps to go of this race. And the gap between myself and the Ferrari, 4.3, which did in fact go down last time around, so we are going to definitely be within that penalty
okay, gap
territory.
ahead, 4.1 seconds.
With a personal best sector 1, don't mind if I do. And that gap between us and Turbo, 3.6 seconds now, that's closed by a good 7/10 this lap so far, and could probably drop another 10.42 with that final chicane if I full pelt it through it and get away no track limits. Otherwise I may have just shot myself in the foot. And I've managed to do that, and we found it 7/10 gain this lap, a 12.84 for us. Still quite a way off of the fastest lap in the race, but that's not my competition. That's for Fiora and Vince to sort out between themselves. Talking about Fiora and Vince, we haven't checked up on them in a while. Fiora's about 6 seconds up the road from us, and Vince is about 8 seconds up the road from us, so those two could possibly meet in a late duel in today's race. Whilst P3 is fighting away with the Alpine and Mercedes behind us of the AI of Emmanuel and Zebra. So I'm not too overly phased by getting lapped down to third, as the gap between us and Turbo 2.4 seconds in this race, and Turbo now has 19 seconds of penalties, so that has quite safely gave us P8. Emmanuel, I know if there wasn't a lobby reset we'd be done by now, because I've commentated many times and usually it ends around 1/4 the hour. But due to unforeseen circumstances, this is what we're dealing with, and to a point where I'm driving instead of commentating, so deal with it. But yeah, us versus Turbo, 2 seconds between us. We could have a little bit of an on-track tussle, not on-lap tussle, for P8 in this race. Ferrari versus Racing Bulls, 10th versus 6th in the Constructors. Ferrari only 38 points entering today's race. Racing Bulls 61 points entering today's race. Unfortunately, quite minimal gains in their championships, but could be a pivotal factor in the determination of where they end up. Because for all we know, there could be a massive comeback into the championship and Ferrari miss out by 2 points on Williams as a result of them not coming on P7. That's just me making stuff up on the spot, but you never know what can happen, as they're 101 points behind each other entering today's event. So with about let me think, about 28 points being scored per driver in an event, if you bring home the maximum, you're looking at about 33 points per event. So yeah. As our gap to Turbo is not really dropping, I don't think I'm putting the foot to the floor as much, but it's just enough to keep us within his penalty range. And as Zebra trying to convince me to pit so we can have a little bit of a fight. But I'd much rather take home points.
We're starting to catch the car in front, but we need to look
well,
after
you'd
the
lose
tyres.
it again due to
won't
penalties.
be making another pit stop.
A debatable one. Well, you do have to show your track limit log. You'd still have to show track limit log. Otherwise we can't say you didn't get 3 strikes throughout the race. Yeah, therefore, at most it'll be 3 seconds removed. Yeah, I've noticed that. 2 laps left. 2 laps are left of the race.
We've got a gap of about 3
DRL
seconds between you
Naismith
and the
has
next
really
car.
started to drop in this race, Pasty Smasher including. So, could there be a glimmer of hope? We just need the McLaren to get another track limit penalty and him to drop behind us on track. As my gap to turbo is starting to fade just because I've got no grip. And I had 2 laps overcut on the Ferrari, which does look quite bad on me. But then that's the difference between control and will. You've got a lot better time management. No, the Mercedes ain't winning. Oh, talking about turbo going round. He has. And that is P8 for us. Nope, he span on his own accord as Vince has won today's race. Meaning I don't have to do another lap of this, as I've just got 3 seconds of track limits to round things off. But yeah, P8. Aye, that is 45 minutes of my life I can't get back. But Vince does win by 1.6 seconds over Fiora. KZ Massey was left in the dust in that Haas. But for Red Bull, they should be ecstatic. That will be putting them up to 2nd in the constructors' standings, closing the gap to Williams as well. And for Vince, that will also put him up to 2nd in the drivers' standings. And all of that jazz in between. For me though, I will be, if I look at this right, I should be 24th in the standings come the end of today. Which, I mean, didn't think I'd be on the standings, so that's a plus. Yep, see ya. But yeah, that is the race all wrapped. I hope you guys have enjoyed the conundrum at Canada. Not a singular driver came home without a track limits penalty. But that's all for me, and I'll see you probably Sunday 5-2. Goodbye.